Hello, my name is Jonathan and I would like to welcome you back to my channel, Stronger After VSG. I had the Vertical Sleeve Gastrectomy or VSG procedure in February of 2021. That means that I am 9 months post-op and I am doing great. If you'd like to hear a little bit about what eating is like for me, how I exercise, what my mental health is like, and how I've grown spiritually, then I hope you stick around. I'm 37 years old, I'm 6 foot tall, my highest recorded weight was 360 pounds. My weight at the time of surgery was 350 pounds, and I don't give my current weight. And if you'd like to hear a little bit about why that is, then I encourage you to go watch my welcome video. Instead, I like to share a picture of what I look like now. And so here's a picture of me getting dressed up. This is the first time that I felt the need or wanted to dress up after my surgery. And it was also the first time that I tucked a shirt in. And I have to say, it felt really good. I remember thinking, wow, look how far you've come, John. And it brought me a lot of joy to dress up, to go out for an event, and I am just so happy whenever I look at this photo. In terms of eating, I had a really solid month. It feels like I've hit a very comfortable rhythm when it comes to my eating in a way that's very sustainable. I don't have any food restrictions on what I eat, and that means that what I eat is 100% up to the choices that I make. And at first this was really scary, but now I find it really empowering. I get to see myself over and over again make food decisions that make me feel good, where I'm eating foods that make me feel good or eating foods that meet the activity needs of what I'm doing. And it feels in a way like I'm growing a different muscle when it comes to making food choices. And I'm really glad that I'm doing that, and it's really, really powerful. Most of the time, what that looks like is that I have a Premier protein shake for breakfast. Then I'll have some meal prep that I've made for lunch. And then for dinner, I usually have a tuna salad, and it all just feels really good. I don't feel like I'm depriving myself of anything. I just feel like I'm taking care of myself, and there's a lot of joy that comes from that. I also feel this month that I was really in touch with my caloric needs. I target 2,000 calories a day, and if I'm under that, I feel a little sensation of hunger. And by that I really mean I just feel like I want to eat a little bit more food. And then if I have a day where I eat more than 2,000 calories a day, the next day I'll usually want to eat less. And being in touch at that level with what I'm eating and how it makes my body feel is something new to me, and something I really enjoy, and something that I'm very grateful for this surgery to give me. I track my calories and my macros using the Berrytastic app, and I thought I would share what that looks like here for you now. So this is going to be a graph of my weight and a graph of the calories I eat. The bottom x-axis is weeks post-surgery, and then on the y-axis is either the weight I have or the number of calories that I'm eating. I'm also indicating when I ran a half marathon in order to just give a little bit of framework for some of the changes that happened with my diet. Before week 30, I was eating between 1,500 and 1,600 calories. I wasn't tracking my calories at all because I felt like I knew what I was doing. Things were going really well for me. My weight loss trajectory was very healthy and I didn't feel the need to track. But after week 30, I decided that I wanted to run a half marathon, and I quickly learned that running a half marathon, at least training for it, and eating 1,500 to 1,600 calories was not compatible with one another. And soon after consulting with my bariatric surgical team and my personal trainer, we decided to set a target goal of eating 2,000 calories a day. And so I slowly increased my calories up to 2,000 calories a day and have kept them there since. And it's been a great number for me to meet my training needs while also feeling really good about my energy. I had a lot of fear when it came to increasing my calories. I thought that it would cause my weight loss to not happen. And the reason I still did it, when I didn't know what was going to happen or how my body was going to respond, is that I told myself that I wanted to run a half marathon so badly that it didn't matter to me if I were to stay the same weight or even gain a little bit of weight, that running the half marathon is what mattered to me. But I'm here to show you that that is not what happened, that I was able to eat 2,000 calories a day and to still maintain the same weight loss trajectory. And I think that's because I was doing a really good job of matching my caloric intake with my energy needs at a deficit that was sustainable and comfortable for me. And so I did that all throughout training for my half marathon. And then after my half marathon, I was mentally prepared to decrease my calories back down to 1,500 to 1,600. But when I brought this idea up with my personal trainer, she told me that that was a very, very bad idea and convinced me not to. She made this really compelling argument that I should keep my calories as high as I can while at the same time losing weight at the rate that I wanted to. And the reason that I wanted to do that was because if there ever came a point when I stopped losing weight at a rate I wanted to be able to drop my calories from a very high number to a normal number. And so I've taken her advice. I have kept my calories at 2,000 calories a day, and that's the plan for the foreseeable future until I stop losing weight. And I feel really, really good about that. One of the things that I've been really interested in lately has to do with the idea of metabolic adaptation. That's the idea that your metabolic rate, or RMR, your resting metabolic rate, is altered or different from what you would predict based on who you are, meaning your age, your sex, and the amount that you weigh. And so I dug into some research to try to find people who had studied how RMR changes after bariatric surgery, and I found a really interesting article that compared two different populations. The first was a population of contestants who were on The Biggest Loser, and the second were a population of patients who had the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. What they did is they measured their resting metabolic rate over time and compared it to what would be predicted based on who they were. And what they found was really, really interesting to me. They found that there was metabolic adaptation early on in both populations, that for the first 6 months, their metabolic rate didn't match what you would expect, meaning that their metabolism was slower than what would a normal person be at that same weight, sex, and age. However, that effect was temporary in that by 12 months, their metabolic rate returned to what would be expected based on who they were. And that made me really, really hopeful and was really, really interesting. It made me think that my metabolism isn't going to be messed up for the rest of my life, that I will be able to eat like someone who is my size, age, and sex, and that I will be normal like that. I don't know if that's exactly the case for me yet. This was research on a different population of patients, and if anything, looking into this has made me interested in going out and getting my resting metabolic rate measured, and that might be something that I do in the near future. Let's talk a little bit about what exercise has been like for me. One of the big accomplishments for me this month was that I ran a half marathon. I was so proud of myself for doing that, and it brought me so much joy. I made an entire video about it. If you're thinking about running after bariatric surgery, or if you're just thinking about starting to run a half marathon in general, then I would encourage you to go check that video out. I think you might find some helpful tips to hear about what my journey was like and how I went from not being able to run for 30 seconds to being able to run for over 2 hours and finish a half marathon. After completing the half marathon, I knew it was really, really important for me to set some new goals and to give myself new focus. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was to get stronger physically. And so I began focusing a lot on my strength training, and in particular, my big three lifts: my squat, my deadlift, and my bench press. And so I'm gonna show a graph here that tracks my big three lifts along with my running base. Again, on the bottom axis, you're gonna see the weeks post surgery for me, and then on the y-axis is either gonna be my running base, which is the amount of miles that I run in a week, or my big three lifts, the sum of my squat, deadlift, and bench press. I do a lot more lifts than just my squat, bench press, and deadlift, but those are my compound lifts that utilize multiple muscle groups, and they are the metric by which I am measuring my progress and my strength gains, and I've really enjoyed it. One of the things that you'll see on this graph is that starting at week 20, I took my weightlifting a little more seriously and wanted to join the 500-pound club. And I did that, and then shortly after that decided I wanted to run a half marathon, and I learned that I could not keep up with my lifting and still do my half marathon training. I was not able to lift and build up my running base at the same time, and so after talking with my trainer, we just decreased my big three lifts. I didn't stop lifting, I just decreased it to a level that was comfortable so that I could focus on increasing the amount of miles I was running per week. Now that I've finished my half marathon, I am back to focusing on increasing my big three lifts, while also running. One of the commitments that I've made to myself is that I'm going to maintain a running base of 15 miles a week. And I've been able to do that while also increasing my strength training at the same time, and that feels incredible. I can't believe the way that my body's adapted to where I wasn't able to lift and run in the past, and now I'm able to, and it feels really, really good. I see the running improving my lifting, I see the lifting improving my running, and it's all going really, really good. And I'm excited to see where my lifting goes in the future. I also take progress pics with my personal trainer, and here I'm going to show pictures that compare myself in April when I started working with my personal trainer to when I took the most recent set of pics in October. We take pics of me that are from the front, from the side, and from the back. And you might notice that in these progress pics, I'm wearing a different exercise shirt. That might make it a little hard to compare directly what I look like because it's a different outfit. But the reason that I'm doing this is because I had a major non-scale victory, which was that my exercise clothes were getting so baggy they were hard to work out in. And so I had to buy some new clothes that fit me a little better. And so I feel really good about these pics. I can see the changes in my body and feel really proud of how hard I've worked and where I've come. Some of the other things that have to do with my workouts this month is that I started doing some double workouts where I will strength train in the morning and then go for a run in the evening, and that's worked really well. Things are getting darker, things are getting colder here where I live, and so I've had to make a lot of sacrifices when it comes to my running. I usually love running outside, but I'm learning to love running on the treadmill and utilizing it to its full potential. I also made a goal of running or completing a triathlon this summer, and so I started putting some time on a spin bike just to get my body used to being on a bike, and so far that's going really well. Overall, I'd say I feel really, really good about my exercise this month, and things are just excellent. In terms of my mental health, I had a event this month where I wanted to dress up to go out for dinner, and it was the first time that I felt the need to dress up or wanted to dress up, and I didn't think I had any clothes to wear that I would want to wear dressing up, that I'd grown out of everything that I had in my closet. And so I went to the local mall and went to a few stores. I went to H&M, I went to Gap, and I was just a little too big to fit into the clothes that I wanted to wear there. And that was a little hard for me. It was a reminder that I still have a distance that I want to go to with my health journey, that I really want to get to a place where I can go to the mall and buy clothes and feel good about it. I also learned that I'm still working on finding my own sense of style. I've thought about subscribing to Stitch Fix in order to just try on a lot of different clothes and see how they make me feel and what feels good to me. And still making that decision. I will let you guys know if I do it. One of the things that I have noticed is that I am really enjoying color coordinating my workout outfits, and that's something brand new to me. Normally, in the past, I haven't cared very much about what I look like, and now I'm starting to, and I feel a lot of growth around that, both emotionally and also financially, and it's something I hope to update you guys on in the future as well. I also had some very significant moments of body dysmorphia this month, where there was a significant cognitive dissonance between what I looked like and what I thought I looked like. And they were moments that were really, really painful. One of them in particular I remember was when I put on a running outfit and I was going out for a run. And I look back on that moment and I realized that I wasn't being very kind to myself. I was being hypercritical. I was looking at all of my pudginess, all the ways my body has curves in places that I didn't want it to. And it was really, really painful and really, really hard. And I can tell you that in that moment there was nothing that I could do to make myself feel better. There was nothing I could tell myself. I felt very trapped in that moment. But I remembered something that Erin from my Level 10 Life has been sharing in her videos over and over again. And that is when you're having a difficult moment, a dark moment, when you don't feel your progress, that you can bring receipts, that you can show yourself receipts of what you have done, of where you've been and how far you've come. And so that's exactly what I did in that moment, and it helped. And I'm going to show you those receipts right here. I looked up photos of what I looked like before I was running at different stages of my journey. And when I saw those pictures, I was able to see how far I've come. And I was able to realize that I wasn't being very nice to myself, that I wasn't being very kind. And I was able to fall in love with how far I've come and how hard I've worked. And I felt better. And I'd just like to tell Erin, thank you so much for sharing that bit of wisdom and for telling me how important it is to bring receipts with you along this journey for moments when you feel doubt or you're being hypercritical of yourself. One of the last things I'll talk about in terms of my mental health that I've noticed is that I feel a lot less worried about GI distress than I have been in the past. My concern about having the urgent need to go to the bathroom was at the forefront of my mind early on in this journey. It would be something I'd think about whenever I was going to a friend's house, whenever I would go out to eat with someone, or whenever I'd be on a long car ride. But this month that went away. It wasn't the first thing I thought about. It wasn't at the forefront of my mind. And I think that's because it just hasn't been an issue for a long time. And I'm very grateful for that. And I would tell people who are having bariatric surgery that those GI issues won't last forever. And eventually you'll get into a rhythm and you'll get to know your body and not have the urgent need to use the bathroom anymore. Let's talk a little bit about my spiritual growth. I feel myself and see myself taking more risks in my personal and professional life than ever before, and I'm seeing lots and lots of benefits of it. One of the things that I'm really getting good at is networking professionally in ways that I haven't been able to do that before. I've been interacting with leaders in my workplace, leaders in my field, and feel a sense of camaraderie, a sense of belonging that I haven't felt before. And I think that's really, really good. And I'm really, really enjoying that. Another important spiritual moment for me happened this month when I went to my first concert since I've had my surgery. I went to one of my favorite venues called Revolution Hall here in Portland and saw Rye X, and it was the first time I've gone to a concert in a long time where I felt very comfortable in the seat that I was in. I felt comfortable being around people. I felt comfortable when Rye X asked us to stand up and start dancing, and it was just a beautiful moment for me to feel like I belonged, to feel like I was accepted, to not feel normal, to feel comfortable with my body, to move my body around with everyone. And it was just beautiful. And I'm so glad that I have that memory, so glad that I had that moment. So with that, I will close my 9-month update video and remind everyone to be kind to yourself and to be kind to others.